it comes to measuring distances between canter poles and jumps, it's important that your own stride length is consistent and accurate. You always need to take the same stride length rather than altering your stride to meet the distance. Now, a metre is actually a lot longer than you think when you come to pace it out. So we generally tend to measure distances between fences in yards or paces. Now, it's worth practicing getting these consistent, and the way I suggest you do this is by setting up a known distance. So here, these two fences are set up on a competition distance for 2 non-jumping strides. That's actually 11 metres. But when you walk between the two, you should get 12 paces, and you want to practice walking that distance until you get that striding perfect and you're confident in your stride length. This distance is actually longer than you would normally build for home, but it's a good practice for getting your stride length right. Now, there are a number of factors that affect the distance and what is the correct distance for different horses. Of course, the size of the horse, the stage and training level of the horse, but also the size of the arena and the size of the fence, and these are all things that we're going to talk about. So first of all, for canter poles, we want to be looking at about a 3-yard distance between the poles. So that's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now, this distance will vary if you've got a smaller or a larger horse. You can reduce it to, say, 2.5 steps. This is particularly useful if you're coming off a very tight turn or you've got a small arena, or if you're working with a really collected canter. You can move it out to 3.5 yards if you're working on an extended canter, or if you've got a really big horse and you've got a long approach down the long side. So 1, 2, 3.5, that's really the longest we want to go, and 1, 2.5 is really probably the shortest. We might get 2 with a pony, but yeah, for a horse, 2.5 would be the more collected canter pole distance. Now we will see Artie going through canter poles of different distances just to help you get your eye in as to what is correct, what is too short, and what is too long. Here we're looking at the 3-yard canter pole distance. And now 3.5 yard, but Artie is coming in with a relaxed canter or even out of trot, and he's clearly finding the distance too long. Now we energise the canter and it's a different story. The canter size is matching the distance between the poles because we've got enough canter. And now the distance is 2.5 yards. This is clearly too short for a 17-hand Irish sports horse like Artie. To make this distance work, he really needs to be coming in a collected canter or from trot, as you see here. When it comes to measuring distances between fences, remember the horse has a 4-yard canter. So 1 non-jumping stride is equivalent to 4 yards, 2 non-jumping strides is equivalent to 8 yards, and so on. But we need to leave space for takeoff and landing. The size of the fence will affect this. So with a fence smaller than a metre, you only need to allow 1 step of space. So with 1 step of space for landing, then 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 step of space for takeoff, because really this is very small, it's just a raised canter pole really. However, if the fence is a metre or bigger, we need to allow 2 steps for takeoff and 2 steps for landing. So really I need to move this out to make the distance that bit longer. So now, hopefully when I walk it, we should have, let's see, this fence is still small, so 1 step for landing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Could be a little bit longer, just to be right there. If this fence also goes up to 1 metre, we need to allow more space for landing. So again, 2 steps for landing this time. 1, 2, 4 for 1 non-jumping strides, and then 2 for takeoff. Now, this is a competition distance for 1 non-jumping stride. So that would be 8 paces or yards in total. However, if we're setting this up at home, you're in a small arena, you're coming off a tighter turn, and you've got a tighter turn the other side, you would probably take 1 stride out, so 1 pace, 1 yard out, so that it was actually on a 7-yard distance rather than an 8-yard. And this applies for all distances. So when we're looking at a 2 non-jumping stride distance, that would be 12 yards at competition. At home you would build it with 11. I've set these 2 fences up on a competition distance for 2 non-jumping strides. This is a good metre size fence, so we need to allow 2 steps for landing or takeoff. 1, 2. Then we need to be allowing 4 steps for each non-jumping stride. Here's the first one. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the second non-jumping stride. 1, 2, 3, 4, followed by 2 strides for takeoff. 1, 2. Now that is a competition 2 strides. At home, working in a small arena, off a shorter turn, then we would want to make this distance just a little bit shorter. So we'd allow, instead of 4 strides in total, for 2 for takeoff and 2 for landing, we'd allow 3, so 1.5 at each end, but we'll count that as 3. So here, this now becomes a training distance for 2 strides. So we've got 1 stride for landing, 1, 2, 3, 4 strides for the first non-jumping distance, 1, 2, 3, 4 for the second non-jumping stride, and then 1, 2 for takeoff and landing. I really hope this video guide to walking distances helps you to get the pole work and jumping exercises right for your horse.